Hello students, today we are going to start with chapter number 3, that is diversity in living things and their classification. I have divided this chapter in two parts and today we are going to study part 1, that is diversity in plants. So let's start. In which spheres of the earth do living things exist? Living things exist in all three spheres of the earth, that is, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and atmosphere. The geographical conditions at different places on the earth are very different. At some places it is cold, at some places it is rainy, and at some places it is hot. We find that living things found in all these diverse conditions. When we live in a certain climate or environment, human body gets adjusted to the conditions there. Various types of living things have survived because of their ability to adjust themselves to the conditions in their surroundings. Now students, are the plants and animals that you have seen all alike? No. There is great diversity in shape, body structure, color, types, etc. among the different animals and plants. Diversity in plants. Various types of plants are found in many places around us. Some plants like grass are short while others are tall and have a canopy. Canopy means the branches and leaves that spread out at the top of a tree, forming a type of roof. Some plants grow underwater while some others float on water. We find that some plants grow even in deserts. Moreover, we find that there is a lot of variety in the same type of plant. For example, there are different varieties of rice or wheat, different types of roses, and mangoes of different flavors. Some plants grow even without stems, leaves, or roots. These are very different from ordinary plants. Let us study this diversity among plants. In previous lesson, we studied the process of photosynthesis, in which plants make their own food in sunlight. Now, such plants are called as autotrophic plants. For example, the hibiscus, pomegranate, periwinkle, etc. Some plants like funguses, loranthus, dodder use other plants for food and are said to be heterotrophic. Heterotrophic plants don't make their own food. They depend on the other plants for food. Plants like the pitcher plant even consume insects. They are called as insectivorous. They consume insects as a food. Next is the structure of a plant. Plant structure can generally be divided into two parts: the stem, which grows above the ground, and the root, which grows below the ground surface. The root, stem, and leaves are the main parts of plants. From time to time, plants bear flowers for reproduction. Flowers are transformed into fruits. Fruits have seeds. Seeds give rise to new plants. Now, we will study the structure of a plant in detail. First part is the flower. This is the most attractive part of a plant. It is connected to the stem by a stalk, which may be long or short. A flower has a typical color and shape. The flower is an important means of reproduction. Second part is the leaf. The leaf is flat. It plays an important role in the production of food. Leaves are mainly of two types, simple and compound leaves. Third part is the stem. The height, shape, and size of a plant depends upon the stem. The stem carries out the functions of production of food, conduction of water and nutrients to the different parts of the plants, and storage of food. In some plants, it has the function of reproduction. For example, if you will plant the hibiscus cutting in the soil, after a few days you will observe that the hibiscus cutting starts growing. Stem also gives support to other parts of the plant. Fourth part is the fruit. Fruits have different shapes. Fruits contains one or more seeds. The pods of beans and peas are actually fruits. And last, fifth part is the root. Roots hold the soil firmly and anchor the plant. The main functions of the root are to absorb and transport water and nutrients from the soil. The roots of the carrot and radish also store food. There are two types of roots, taproot and fibrous roots. Next is need for classification of plants. Up to now, information about lakhs of plants has been collected. While studying the diversity in plants, they are classified for the sake of convenience on the basis of the similarities and differences in their structure, their organs, and their other characteristics. The scientist Carolus Linnaeus made the first scientific classification of plants. Initially, it was his method of classification that was used by all. Here is an activity for you all to do. Take a round through a garden or in your surroundings and observe the plants that you see. Then you have to draw a table as shown on the screen. You have to observe the following things in plants. That is, the name of the plant, where does the plant grow, or where did you see the plant. Nature of the plant, that is, the nature of the stem, the circumference, the color, the bark, whether it has soft bark or dark bark. Then the height, the branches, about the leaves, about the flowers, the nature of the fruit, and what are the uses of that plant. So you can collect all this information and then write it into a table. You can even draw the pictures of some of the plants that you see. Next is classification of plants. We can easily notice the differences in the shape and height of the plants in our surroundings. It is easy to classify the plants on the basis of this observation. Can you tell what are the similarities between a mango, a banyan, and a tamarind tree? Mango, banyan, and tamarind are huge trees. Now, let's discuss about trees. Some plants grow tall. Their stem or trunk means the main woody stem of a tree. So, their stem or trunk is hard and strong. They have branches at some height above the ground. They bear flowers and fruits for many years. Such plants are called trees. Trees are tall, big, and perennial. That is, they live for many years. Next is shrubs. What are the similarities between the hibiscus, oleander, and lantana plants? So, all these plants are smaller and shorter than trees. So, let's discuss about shrubs. Some plants grow close to the ground. They give out branches very close to the ground. They are shorter and smaller than trees, but they have a thick and hard stem. The oleander, hibiscus, lantana, coranti, and rose are shrubs that may grow up to 2 to 3 meters. Next is herbs. What are the similarities between the fenugreek and periwinkle plants? They are smaller and shorter than trees and shrubs. Herbs grow 1 to 1.5 meters tall. The stems of herbs are green and quite flexible as compared to those of trees and bushes. Herbs may live for a few months or up to 2 years. According to the size and height of their stems, plants can be classified into three types: trees, shrubs, and herbs. Next is wine. You might have seen wines like the pumpkin, the railroad creeper, kavali, watermelon, or the grape wine. They have very soft, green, and flexible stem. They grow with the help of a support. Now let's discuss about vines. Some vines need vertical support for growing, while some others spread on the ground. Climbers like the money plant have aerial roots. You might have seen the cucumber tendril that look like a spring. It is used by climbing plants for support. The stem of a creeper is very flexible, soft, and green. It grows rapidly with the help of a support. Can you tell for how many years do crops like bajra, wheat, corn, radish, marigold live? All the above plants survive for about 1 year. The life cycle of plants like jawar, sunflower is completed in 1 year. These plants are called annuals. The life cycle of plants like the carrot, beetroot is of 2 years. They are called biennials. Shrubs like the hibiscus and oleander and trees like mango and gulmohar live for several years and bear flowers and fruits. They are called perennials. According to the period of their life cycle, plants are classified as annuals, biennials, and perennials. Can you tell to which part of plants are butterflies and insects attracted? Butterflies and insects are attracted towards the flower of the plant. Plants that bear flowers are called flowering plants, while the plants that never bear flowers are called non-flowering plants. Non-flowering plants may not have organs, that means parts like roots, stems, leaves. Brain power. In this, first question is, what type of plants are toadstools and mushrooms? Toadstools and mushrooms are heterotrophs. Second question is, what type of plant is the fig? Fig is a tree. Third question is, do ferns, algae, money plant bear flowers? Ferns, algae, and money plants do not bear flowers. They are non-flowering plants. The world's largest flower is found in Indonesia. The diameter of the flower of the plant Rafflesia arnoldi is about 1 meter. The world's smallest flower is of the plant called Wolffia or duckweed. Its diameter is as small as 0.5 millimeter. Can you tell where does the pomegranate shrub grow? Pomegranate shrub grows on land in soil. Where does the lotus grow? Lotus grow in water. Where do bulrushes, the railroad creeper, grow? Bulrushes is a water plant and railroad creeper grow along the ground. Where does the dodder plant grow? Dodder is a parasitic plant. Parasitic plant is a plant that derives some or all of its nutritional requirements from another living plant and grow on other plant. We see different plants growing in different places around us. Plants can be classified according to their habitat or the place where they grow. Habitat means the natural home or environment of an animal, plant, or other organisms. Land, water, marshy areas, deserts, and even a big tree are the various habitats of plants. Use your brain power. First question is, why does the water hyacinth float on water? The stem of water hyacinth is filled with air and its leaves are specially modified, which helps it to float in water. Second question is, why is the stem of the cactus fleshy? Cactus is a desert plant. As there is a shortage of water, cactus stores water in its stem and hence stem of cactus is fleshy. Third question is, what different criteria are used to classify plants? Plants are classified according to height, shape of stem, period of life cycle, whether they produce flowers or they are non-flowering, and habitat. So students, I hope you all understood diversity in plants. Soon we will meet with the next part of this chapter, that is diversity in animals. Thank you for watching this video.